Hi, my name is Libby Bravo, and this is my final presentation for my Chicana Latina experience class. The four references I'm going to be using. The first one is The Development of Chicana Feminist Discourse, 1970-1980 by Alma M. Garcia. Also going to be referencing things from the video Chicanas in the Chicano Movement by Mary Carmen M. And references from the Foundations of Chicana Feminism from the Daily Nonprofit Library for Intellectually Curious, and the Delgado Bernal Using a Chicana Feminist Epistemology, written by Dolores Bernal. So much of what I read was completely new to me. To begin with, I didn't know that the Chicana women had their own feminist movement. So I'm pretty blown away. Not only did they form and organize against racism, but many fought for their own equal rights among their own community. And I'm just thinking about how heavy of a burden that is. How, you're already trying to be looked at as an equal in a country, and then to also fight for that within your own household, within your own community. I just feel like, wow, that's tough, and it's inspiring that they did it. And so someone that really brought forward the Chicana, or many people that did, one of them being Alma M. Garcia. So she wrote about how some Chicana feminists saw machismo just as damaging as racial stereotypes. And she was right on the money with that. Ana Nieto Gomez highlighted how many within the movement believed a woman's role was to support her husband and raise children. Looking back at my notes from the Chicana and Chicano movement film by Mary Carmen M., it did talk about how the Chicana women, their role, or they had to be submissive, and they had to be very submissive to their husbands, and if they did help out at all in the movement, they didn't get recognition for it. And in order for any of the women to be taken seriously and have any kind of leadership role, they did have to have a more masculine attitude. So I found that really interesting and sad. So back to what I was saying. Yes, Ana Nieto Gomez highlighted how many of the women within the movement believed a woman's role was to support her husband and raise her children, rather than take a leadership or take a direct role in the movement. So, like I said, I'm fascinated by the women who challenged this, who called out the sexism and machismo within their own communities. Something that I also learned is that the tension eventually within the Chicano movement whole in the community, the tension eventually led to a bit of a split. So between the feminist and, I guess, what they were called, the loyalists. The loyalists believed in addressing sexism privately, more passively, maybe not really even wanting to open that can of worms. Everyone was already dealing with a lot, and they felt that addressing the sexism would weaken them as a community, and would weaken the movement because of the internal fighting within. And in many ways, Chicana feminism was seen as disloyal or traitorous and overall threat to the cultural community. when I first saw this, I was like, uh, fuck the loyalists. Like, of course, they're not going to want to do anything about it. And then I'm also thinking, like, wow, like, women could be in danger. They could be subjecting themselves to abuse in the household if they speak up. They can be ostracized. They are dealing with a lot of injustices as it is, being in a country that is not respecting them, and they do need to be united. I guess what I'm saying, that it was really easy for me to just like automatically have one opinion about this whole thing, and this is a difficult thing to do, standing up against any oppressive union. In many ways, Chicana feminists, I already said that. So what struck me the most was how feminism itself was seen as, trying to find where I am in my notes. What struck me the most was how feminism itself was seen by some loyalists as a form of assimilation. So that one was kind of annoying to me, because I've lived my entire life being called like not Mexican enough, or like called a gringa, or muy americana sort of thing. And so that was pretty annoying because I don't know. So they saw that as some form of assimilation, as something white women did. I found that to be super unfair that they were labeled that, because they just wanted to be treated with respect. And I could talk about that forever, but I'm gonna move on. So I'm deeply grateful to the Chicana feminists who push back against that difficult narrative. So another important takeaway for me is how mainstream feminism, especially in the 1970s, was not inclusive of Chicana women. I mean, that's the big takeaway. That's why Chicanas created their own movement. They said, we're not feminists, we're feministas. So I learned that happened because the mainstream feminist movement was not inclusive. It did not help Chicana women the way it was helping white women. It was and it wasn't helping most women of color either. It largely reflected the experiences of middle-class white women and often ignored the issues that directly impacted Chicana communities, issues to do with farm worker rights, welfare and resource access, immigration, and more. All of this just brings me to wonder why I wasn't taught this growing up. Why I wasn't taught this. Why weren't these classes offered even in my early years of college? Delgado Bernal's feminist epistemology and research and educational research is an important article that lays out a powerful framework for understanding knowledge production through the lens of the Chicana experience. And so it emphasizes cultural intuition as a source of knowledge, testimony as method, counter-narratives and intersectionality, legitimizes non-traditional ways of knowing that are often dismissed in academic spaces. That's a big one. It emphasizes a need to challenge white, Eurocentric norms in research and centers the voices and lived experiences of Chicanas in school, homes, and community spaces. Yes, and yeah, what I felt that was missing in regards to the epistemology is I would like to know where that work is now and what has been done in that work or what is being done. I feel like, yeah, I'm really excited to see where we're at with it. Okay, so question number 5. My appreciation for this class has grown. This is a part of history, American history, that just has not been told. This class I'm able to see outside of just my little world. So one thing that I would like to tell someone about the Chicana and or Latina experience is that there's a lot of nuanced information. I think what this does, learning all these things, is that it gives Latina women, Chicana women, and the people at whole, it gives them a different way to be perceived. Like, they're real human beings. They're not just people that make amazing food. They're not just